Good morning, everyone. I was going to say Good Friday, but it's not Good Friday. Happy Friday, thank you. Happy Friday to everyone. We were considering moving this outside, but due to technical restrictions, we can't do that. We hope you get to enjoy some of the sunshine today. Today we're going to be discussing tools for retention. Krista Rowland will be our presenter. As a reminder, a couple of things for those of you that are here physically. Please raise your hand if you have a comment or a question. We'll bring the mic to you. If you have a question, comment, or you're seeing any technical problems out there in the virtual audience, then please send those to Michelle Campbell, and she'll take care of those. Without further ado, we'll turn the time over to Krista.
Hi, good morning. I am here to talk about tools for retention and best practices for separation. So what I'm going to go over today is compensation basics, ASIs, promotions, reclasses, career mobilities, reassignments and transfers, separations, and the exit survey. So I wanted to start out with what DHRM is presenting to the state legislature regarding compensation. So first of all, some of the data that I'll go through over the next few slides is what they pull, comparing our state of Utah jobs to the job market. And just to let you guys know, and that DHRM is aware that we are a little over 15% below salary market. Since they opened the 401k match, 75% of state employees are now participating in the 401k. Hopefully this has increased. We don't have those numbers yet for this year around, but so far this has been a good thing that they made a change to match to the 401k, so more employees are being involved in putting money into the 401k. Another thing that they've been looking at and presenting to the state legislature is health insurance trends. We do know from 2005 there was $500 over, I think it's total cost per employee that was going out per employee, but now that cost has went up to $1,000. So they are aware of those trends that in medical costs are still increasing over time. So they take that into consideration when they're considering what they can do for state employees. For fiscal year 2016, the general increase in employees got 2.25%. There was a 0.75% MCA to all the hot spots in the department. We have the 401k matching, funding for the medical and dental costs are still being funded in vision. An ability to gather and present much more relevant data. All this information that we provide to the legislature helps them to help with the market. The state legislature, what we're looking for to help move forward for employees is internal and external turnover, compression, wage compression, quality of hires, how long it takes to fill a position, number of offer rejections, terminations, the probationary period, etc., and cross-agency and agency-specific comparisons. So this is what the legislature is looking to help us figure out how we can get our employees more money. What supervisors can do in the meantime is be familiar with the state's total compensation package to inform your employees what's out there for employees. Be vigilant in gathering information about attracting good talent and retaining that top talent. And use all available compensation tools to your employees to your advantage. Some of those things are DHRM recommends using the total compensation package to help when you're hiring new hires. And so we have salary, the medical and dental vision, so all of our state benefits, the leave, flexible work schedules, dependent care. We have life assistance counseling, our education assistance program, public transportation, exercise release time, and also leave bank. You can use any of these and all these elements to sell these options to hiring your employees. Some of those things that I want to elaborate on is leave, that we offer vacation and sick time to your employees, that they accrue that. Make sure when you're hiring that you establish a clear expectation surrounding leave on requests and approvals. Another thing I wanted to touch on while we're talking about leave is that supervisors are allowed to give employees 40 hours of administrative leave, each up to 40 hours for rewarding employees. So that used to be 24 hours, and John Pierpont has changed that to now it's 24 or 40 hours per calendar year. But when coding that on your timesheet, and we are going to change this in rule, instead of using the code OA, from now on we have to use the code OR, which stands for other rewards. So just make a note of that from future on when you're giving that out, that employees code that correctly on their timesheets. But this is a great thing to do if you're unable to give ASIs, you can always give administrative leave for time off. Another thing we can offer to employees is to have flexible work schedules and telecommuting. So whenever this is possible in your work area for employees, to help them be more flexible with their work schedules if it works within your team, this is a great option for employees to have this out there, to have the flexible time, or even to telecommute and work from home. Another great benefit that we have is exercise release time. So make sure you get out there and tell your employees that this is an awesome benefit to get out, to encourage employees to use this exercise release time. They can have up to 3 days per calendar year, per week, to have 30 minutes of exercise release time. And now this can be used before or after work. So if this works for you and your employees, this is a great benefit for them. Of course, it's up to supervisor discretion, but we just want people to start using that. Salary ranges. Every position in workforce services is tied to a job title. So just so you're aware of that, salary ranges for job titles are determined based on job market data and also allowed by the legislature by Utah code. So not the same market data that DWS uses. The ranges for our employees are figured out by DHRM at the admin level. The total comp is a calculator. I don't know if any of you are aware of this or have utilized this, but you can go onto the employee gateway and click on compensation and benefits and search the compensation calculator. This is a good seller for employees, even though we may not start them at really high rates of pay, we offer awesome benefits. So this is a good way for you to go in there and plug in the information, which I'm going to show you, and it pulls up an Excel spreadsheet. Let me pull that up from here, kind of show you what this looks like. But you can plug in the employee's hourly rate. So I'm just going to use our typical entry-level rate for employment counselors. So they typically start out at the $14.42. So you can plug this in there. You can click on full-time, public employee, and depending on if they're single, double, family, we can just do family and family medical, family dental. That's not clicking on there. And most employees now that are hired are Tier 2 retirement plan. I don't know how to get this to scroll down. I can't get that to work.
Zoom out. Other side.
Okay. This may not work.
Touch your fingers.
Yeah, I can't get this to scroll down. Sorry.
Try minimizing the corner
Right here?
up top. Let's see if that gives you scrolling options.
Up here?
Other side.
I'm so confused. Sorry. Oh. Wow, how are you getting it to scroll down?
Fingers, but it's because I minimized.
Oh,
It's
so maybe
this-
this is too difficult to do
It's this
on here.
form. Yeah. Well,
Please stand by.
I know, sorry. Technical difficulties.
it's the interesting thing about this form is that it's an Excel spreadsheet that you have to download to your desktop or to your computer. And once you do that, you'll be able to control it better than how it's cooperating
I
here.
can just get out
Yeah.
of it. Sorry, we're going to get out of this. But just so you know, it's out there, and employees can plug in their hourly rate, what medical plan, dental plan, retirement option. It'll put in the holidays, the paid holidays, all that information, and it'll give them their total compensation. So this is really helpful to employees, because even though they may think, oh, I'm only making $14.42 an hour, but they're getting really great benefits. You know, out in the private sector for a similar type job, they could pay anywhere from $500 to $700 a month just for medical insurance. So yeah, they may make $25 an hour, but really they're paying a lot of money for benefits. And our benefits here are really awesome. So we just want to make sure that we're selling that for employees. And this is just something that you can use and go through and print out and go through with an employee. So another thing I want to go over is ASIs, and when are you thinking you should grant administrative salary increases? So based on successful performance within your position in your division or service area, typically we do 6-month mark, which is a skill enhancement with this department, which employees at 6 months, if they're doing their job successfully, they have the opportunity to give, and you can give them a 5.5% increase. At the 1-year mark, when they've completed their probation, you can either have the probationary increase, or like the common practice with our workforce service specialists, we do the series promotion to workforce service specialist 2s. We typically do the 8.5% at that time. So those options are out there for employees, or you have the option of just doing ASIs on high performance, or to deal with compression issues or retention issues, etc. If you're looking at giving ASIs, you can even talk with HR. We can help you through some of those issues or what your options are. We just want to make sure that you guys know that those are out there. Also, you can look at how long have my employees been here compared to the other employees, and what are they making? What are my long-term employees making compared to someone that I'm bringing on? What can I do for them? If they're performing well, let's look at some options of how we can get them through the range. Where are they at? Are they at the beginning of the range? Are they mid-range? And what's accepted within your practices within your division. So all divisions usually have like a standard of how they want to get their employees through their salary ranges. So just make sure you're looking at those and options, and just to retain our employees to help them get moved through the range. Another thing that we run into a lot is employees will apply on positions with the department and think, oh, they look at the minimum of the job range, and they think if the minimum of the range is higher in that position, that allows for them to have promotional opportunities. Really, at the job range, we always look at the end of the range. So whatever the end of the range is compared to what you're in, that will be if it's considered a promotion or not. If the end of the range is lower, then that's actually considered a downgrade. So just be aware of that. But we have a lot of time, I'll have employees call me and say, oh, I want to apply in this job, or they'll come down and say, I should have got money because the beginning of the range is higher, but that's not how it works. So just make sure you're aware of that. So another thing that we happen to do sometimes are reclassifications. And what are the elements that reflect for a reclassification to happen? You can look at job title, job duties, the scope of the authority, the autonomy, and the salary range. So those are what it does. When do you think it would be right for a classification to what would warrant for an employee to have a classification? So I'm just going to ask you guys, if an employee wants to resign for a better paying job elsewhere, do you think that warrants a reclassification? Dell says no. Dell, you're right. Good job. So yes, just because, did you cheer? I love it, starting a wave. So this would not be an option. If an employee comes to you and says, I'm going to resign because I'm going to go get a higher paying job somewhere, that doesn't warrant a reclassification. So what about if an employee in a neighboring division makes more doing similar work in a different division?
Totally reclassified.
Totally, Bart's a liar. No, this would not warrant a classification just because someone is doing the same work or similar work in a different division. This would not warrant a reclass. What about organizational restructure? Placed more responsibility on the employee. Winner, winner. Yes, this would warrant a classification. So if this was something that was happening in your area and you wanted to look at restructuring and this could cause some job duties being changed, please talk to HR and we can work on seeing what would best work for that employee. What if market data on jobs.utah.gov shows employees in the private sector make more than yours? The crowd says no. The crowd is right. Good job. So no, this would not warrant one. Over the past 2 to 3 years, workload has increased dramatically for employees. No, workload of the same nature does not require reclassification. We do get this commonly in HR, like they'll come and they'll say, oh, I've got so much work, I'm way more busy, but it's the same type of work. So just because your workload increases does not mean reclassification. Lastly, over the past 2 to 3 years, duties have evolved significantly for your employees, so they've changed. So if you have a change in duties over a period of time, and it doesn't necessarily have to be years, it could be months, but we can definitely look at reclassing your employee. So ask yourself about reclassification. Do you think compensation is a driver? Reclasses do not have to warrant an automatic pay increase. So in the past, when people would reclass, a lot of the time there would be money attached to that. It was like an automatic thing. Yeah, Brad has a question.
So I'm just curious, as you see, you have employees doing a certain type of work, and you see employees in other areas doing the same type of work, but they're different classifications. Would that merit a reclassification to bring one in line with the other?
If they're doing different work?
If they're doing the same work, but they're classified differently. Like one's one classification, one's something completely different, but they're doing the exact same thing.
Well, we could look at both of those classifications and their duties and then decide if one of them needs to be changed. It's something we can look at. I can't say that would ultimately happen as a reclass, but we can look at it. So it's something you can come and talk to us about for sure.
Definitely a reason to look at it.
Yeah. And then if it's a compensation issue, a lot of time supervisors or employees will come to HR and look at the reclass thing as just a money driver. But really, if it just has to do with money, then we just recommend doing the ASI route and suggesting to submit an ASI for the employee. If you're thinking of doing a reclass, just work with your HR analyst with a department, and we can get you the documents that you need to fill out to get back to us to see if that's something we need to look at. So there's a couple forms. They're on the internet, or you can just contact us directly. We can email them to you. Just a couple forms, fill them out, get them signed, hand them into us, then we can look at it, and then we can decide if there's further analysis that needs to be done. So another thing I want to go over is temporary assignments or career mobilities with the department. Temporary assignments are an awesome thing. This department uses them a lot for professional growth for the employee within the organization. So the advantages of doing a temporary assignment may be inside or outside the DWS and or the state. Maybe to any salary range. Sorry. Competitive process is not required, and this may be used for professional development. Some of the caveats with doing something like this is whoever you're looking at to do the temporary reassignment, they must meet the minimum qualifications of the position. So just make sure that they have the qualifications to do the job and you're not putting them in something that they clearly won't be able to do. The competitive process is not required before becoming permanent. Oh, is, sorry. That's not on there, is it? Oh, it says required. Just kidding. And career mobility agreement is also required. So if you're going to do those, make sure you get the career mobility form filled out and handed in to HR. Some differences with reassignment and transfers, just to help you guys understand more of the difference between the two of those. Reassignments are initiated by the agency management. Positions are equal or lower in salary, and actual salary cannot be reduced. So when you reassign an employee to a different job within the department, the employee does not lose money. On transfers, this is initiated by the employee to be moved. The position is equal or lower in salary also, but, but they may have salary reduced, so just be aware of that. If they initiate it, if you apply on the job or and get the job and it's a lower salary range, there is an option that you probably will lose money. In spite of all the retention tools we have available, some employees leave the department after a period of time. We often regret those departures. Sometimes we celebrate them. I wanted a cheer noise here, but it didn't happen. So we need to learn from all of these departures in order to increase our quality of hire. So when someone leaves the department, this is a common problem in HR that we need to make sure that we learn of, as soon as you hear that the employee's leaving, sometimes we don't know, that does happen. They don't tell their supervisor, but we need to know as soon as you know. Just contact HR and let us know. We need to protect the department's security, the building security, so make sure you get a hold of us. There's an exit survey that we now do before the employee's last day. So if you contact us, we'll send you the HR check sheet and send you the link to the survey, so the employee can fill out the online survey. And then supervisors are responsible to collect all ID badges, the building security, and cards, so for the access to the building. Resignations. So if an employee resigns, and to officially resign with the department, they need to do this in writing, which I know sometimes that's hard. They just may come talk to you and not give you a formal letter or something in writing. But supervisors do not have to allow an employee to rescind resignations after 24 hours. If the employee refuses to resign in writing, supervisors can send an email to the employee and use the read receipt feature. Has anybody used that in here on Google? You can do the read receipt. So on there, you can send them an email and put in there, you come talk to me that you're resigning on this date, and ask the employee to confirm or deny. And that way, when you use the read receipt, yes, Maris has a question.
Just curious on the rule number 2. Is it 1 business day or 24 hours? Talking about Friday situations.
I'm not sure.
Business day.
Oh, business day.
That is a business day.
So Maris asked if 24 hours, if it's a day, and so it's a business day that when the employee can the amount of time the employee can rescind resignation. Back to the read receipt, make sure that you can send that to them, do the read receipt, and then that will kick back an email to you that they got the email and read it. So that's an awesome feature if they don't do something in writing that we can keep in their file that's their official resignation with the department. So I just kind of wanted to go over the survey with the department. We've started doing this survey instead of doing, I don't know if you guys, a lot of you remember the exit survey that we used to send out the paper form, but now we do a link. So this link, just the employee can click in, take a survey online, and that data that comes back, we use that data for turnover and why people are leaving the agency. So this data gives DHRM and the legislature the reasons we experience turnover and help with overall compensation. So it's really important that the survey gets filled out and gets back to us. It helps us, HR, understand and improve the qualities of our hires, like why we're losing people, how can we retain these people, employees. And it helps DWS understand if there are circumstances within our power to change and improve retention. So it's really great if we know in advance so we can get that survey out to those employees and get that feedback. So overall, let's improve what DHRM is presenting to the state legislature regarding compensation by providing us with this information. Anybody have any questions? Anyone? Well, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Krista. So I wanted to echo just a few things that as it relates to compensation, total compensation, we've been attempting over the past year to try to inform current employees or incumbent staff a little bit more about total compensation, about their benefits. There's a lot of benefits, as I've experienced onboarding with new employee orientation and listening to presentations by PHP and URS. I've learned things through that process about some of our benefits that I simply wasn't aware of. Some of them that have saved me a lot of money. So we're trying to get the word out. I know the HR team is doing a lot, try to get the word out about all of the benefits that are available to all of us. And we work really hard to make sure new employees are aware of those as well. But if you ever have recommendations about how we can better educate incumbent staff on the benefits that are available to us as state employees, please reach out to the HR team, let them know. In addition to any questions at all, just reach out to the HR team. Thanks again, Krista, and have a great weekend.